Welcome to our Learning Lab, Cutting Through the Hype, Essential Media Tools, Social Media Tools for SLPs. My name is Heidi Kay, and I'm with PediaStaff. I'm the Vice President of Clinical Outreach and Content, as well as social media for our company. We're real big fans of social media as a way of introducing SLPs the world over to working together collaboratively in real time over social media platforms to really make themselves better clinicians. And we're having an enormous amount of success on some of these social media platforms, getting people together, sharing ideas. One of the things that we've talked about over and over again at this conference is that ASHA's once a year. And while these sessions are phenomenal to help you get your juices going, it's not the same as being in a room with your peers every day. And social media sort of enables us to be closer to one another from a sharing point of view every day. And there are some wonderful people, my panelists included, that will be showing you how to use social media to make yourself a better clinician. We'll be working, talking about Pinterest, and my guest today is Roehl. And she represents the Speechy Keen SLP blog. She runs a private practice, and she's extremely knowledgeable about how to use many social media platforms, but including Pinterest. She'll be speaking about that today. And then we have Kim Lewis of Activity Tailor. Kim runs a blog and has a company that sells speech activities. Her blog is primarily activity related, so things you can do in the classroom and in the clinic to engage your students and your kiddos. And third, we have Megan Panatier, and she runs, she is a big technology guru. She tweets, and she has a Facebook page called Avocado Tech, and she is very internally motivated to teach you all about how to use Twitter and how that can make you a better clinician as well. So sit back and listen to what we have to say about these three types of platforms. Now, one thing that I can tell you is that on your chair, you will have found, along with some goodies, a question submission slip and a registration card. The questions, so that we can try to conserve time at the end of each section. If you think of a question during the section, go ahead and write it on the slip. And then our lovely assistants are going to pick up the questions in between sections, after Pinterest, after the blog section, and after Twitter. And then we'll be answering all the questions at the end in a 10-minute Q&A section at the end. You will also see a registration card on your page that you can register there for a free iPad mini that we're giving away. And also, there is a social media ebook that we have written to allow you to take what you're learning today home with you. And so that you don't have to necessarily take furious notes here, but just listen. And when you get home, you'll be able to have this ebook. We'll be emailing you a link to the ebook. And if you have any more questions when we're done, you can come to see us at booth 1823 at the Social Media Learning Center. And we'll be giving you the remaining times for that. It's pretty much whenever the exhibit hall is open. We'll be here later this afternoon and then tomorrow during the exhibit hall. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Tara, who's going to talk to you about Pinterest.
Hi, my name's Tara. Give you all a head warning, I'm from the Midwest, so I get excited and may sometimes talk really fast. So I'll try not to go too fast, but this is a topic I'm really excited about. As Heidi said, I'm an avid user of social media. I've at least tried everything, if not used regularly, Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and blog and all of those pieces. But the one that I've yet to get burnt out on has been Pinterest. I've had to take breaks from Twitter. I've had to take breaks from Facebook, things like that. And I think the reason for that is that I haven't had to give too much to Pinterest. It's very much a site where you can just consume if you want. You know, there's not an obligation to go in, to add to a conversation, to put up a blog post, to post a photo. It's very much a place where you can just go and get information given to you at a speed or a focus that you're really interested in. Pinterest is a fantastic site. You know, it's considered social media. A lot of people don't necessarily use it socially though, but it's got a ton of potential, especially for us as SLPs, because it offers resources to us that we wouldn't normally be able to find, that we'd be creating ourselves on a regular basis, which we don't really have a ton of time to be doing. So it's constantly new pins are going up onto boards, which are providing you with all sorts of different types of information. This was just the main page on the day that we were making these slides, and as you can see, it covers a huge variety of topics. I mean, everything from fitness to fashion to cooking, but there really is an ability to focus it in and find ways that it can support your therapy. I put up the definition there just for the type A personality, and I like to have my definitions there, but really my goal throughout this, the rest of my time on this panel, is to really show you what Pinterest is, because I don't feel like either of these definitions really give you a good, solid picture of what it is and how easy it is to use and to find things that you really need inside your therapy. Now, before I go any further, I feel it is my obligation to give a fair warning. If you have never used Pinterest before, it can be extremely overwhelming initially, because there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people posting things. However, if you really give it an effort, it's termed Pinterest addiction, and people really do just get hooked on just that pinning information, because there's so much to find and so many resources that you could pin all day and not hit the end of what's available out there for you. Now, why Pinterest for a social media perspective is that as SLPs, we're all here, especially at ASHA, to get information. How can we improve ourselves professionally? How can we improve our therapy that we're giving to other people, to our clients? How can we just improve our knowledge base? And Pinterest really provides all that information that can then improve your interventions. It's got quality materials out there. It has quality research, quality handouts for parents that are constantly giving you that information. It's easily, one click, find it, print it off. So as SLPs and audiologists, it's a place for us to go and really find that one piece of information we need without searching Google and clicking links that aren't showing us a picture. And so we've got to go to that page, click through that page, trying to find what we're looking for. And the thing about Pinterest is it's all visual. So you can see at one moment, yes, that's something I was looking for. That's something I want to get more information on. The other problem that us as SLPs run into is how we get information. We get ASHA once a year. Hopefully, we get workshops during the year. We get magazines with great ideas for therapy. We get to see other SLPs. But the realistic perspective is that a lot of us are much more isolated than that. Maybe we work in a setting where we can have more SLPs or audiologists around us working, and maybe we can bounce ideas off of them. But we usually don't have time to actually go observe them. We don't have time to actually see other SLPs at work and get ideas from them. Usually money is pretty limited on going to conferences or continuing ed at that point. So a lot of the ways that we do get new information to improve our interventions has really limited exposure to us. Personally, it's difficult for us to actually gather that information. The other problem we have is storage. And I don't know how many people here, but I've tried about every form of storage. I've had the binders on my shelves. I've had the files in my file drawer, trying to keep it organized, remember where my handouts are. I've had the bulletin boards. I've tried it on my computer, and I've tried to email it to myself. Now, all of those have humongous dilemmas to them. Binders take up space, and files take up space. And I don't know about any of you, but I do not have unlimited space to be storing my information. I love bulletin boards because it keeps things in my line of sight, and I'm very visual. But that's assuming nothing gets ripped off, blown off, or the sun fades it so far that I can't use it anymore anyways. Computer, invariably my computer crashes, or it's on the wrong computer at the wrong place and I don't have it. And I try to get around that by emailing it to myself. And if I ever showed any of you what my inbox looks like, first of all, you might be traumatized, and two, you'd understand why I can't find it a month later, even though if I did send it to myself, even though I know it's somewhere out there. But Pinterest really creates one way for us to get around these four dilemmas. With the dilemma of access, it not being where you need it when you need it. The binder's not at this school or at my hospital, or I left it in my other car. Same with all those files. Pinterest is internet-based. So if you have a smartphone, you have a tablet, you've got a computer where you are, even if it's not your computer, it's another teacher's computer, it's another staff person's computer, you can access and get it instantly for yourself. Storage, again, internet-based. It's all out there. It's not taking up space in the computer. You don't have to worry about the computer crashing and losing it. It's safe. Cost. It's free to sign up for Pinterest, and almost everything you'll find on there are free. And if it's not free, it's probably a pretty good recommendation if somebody did pin it, so it's something to look into, spending money on anyways. And then also the limited exposure. You don't have that problem on Pinterest. There are people pinning thing after thing after thing, item after picture after image, so you constantly have new things that you're being exposed to on a regular basis without having to take a day off to go to a conference or go speak to another SLP or another individual. So what exactly is Pinterest for anybody who hasn't used it? Pinterest is a site that takes visual links. Think of it as, I think I was talking to Heidi about this, think about it as a museum. And where you get to walk through and you get to look at all sorts of bulletin boards on the walls here. It's all these ideas that people have pinned that they really like, that they really thought were important or things that they could use. And you have free access to look at all of these ideas. And what's even better is at the click of a single button, you get to take that and put it onto your own board. So you're like, yes, they like that, you know, I like it too, I want to save that for later use. What I like about it, like I said, it's like a bookmark, but it's visual. And you get to put a small text blurb under it. Because if you've ever favorited something, like a website or something, and then go back later and you're like, why did I even put that into my bookmarks? Or what was on that site that was interesting? And here you can write yourself a short note about why I wanted it, and then there's that picture, that image for you to see it. What's nice too is you don't have to even sign up for a Pinterest account to begin using it. You can literally go to Pinterest.com. There's a search box there. So let's say next week you want a snowman activity with your clients, or you really need a decibel chart that's really going to explain to parents, you know, where their child's hearing is at. Go in there, type it in your search box. If anybody else has found that in their search on the internet, it's going to come up instantly. So it's right there at your fingertips. If it doesn't come up, I always encourage people, it's just a little bit like Google, and change your wording a little bit, and you might find it if somebody used a different verbiage when saving it, you can find it. If you're feeling lucky or you really don't have something focused, you just want to see what else is out there, there's also a category section. And that's an area where, you know, you can click and it's just everything everybody's pinning in specific categories. So I like to often start for, you know, the pediatric SLPs. Great place to start is the kids section on there, because it's a bunch of crafts and activities. And SLPs, things we can easily adapt right into our therapy, you know, right into the activities that we're doing. If you do want to save any of those pins, though, you do need to sign up for a free account, because that's how you start creating your own boards and your own place to save information. But again, it's free, and you can use either your Facebook or Twitter account, or even just your email address and a password, and instantly start creating your own boards and saving and organizing it in ways that make sense to you as you find your pins. So, I'm going to show you 3 different kinds of boards really quick. And it's just to show you 3 different ways people are using Pinterest right now. The first one is actually PediaStaff's. And the reason I really like theirs is because it's really organized. You can literally search by topic. It's kind of, you know, it's hard to see in here, but they've got boards dedicated just to Down syndrome, just to sensory processing disorder, just to selective mutism, and links are organized very specifically. So you can follow one, you can follow them all on there. And it really is giving you that great information that's organized in a way where you can see exactly just the topic you're looking for today. They also have a board on there that's just dedicated to SLPs and audiologists and PTs who have Pinterest accounts. So you can actually go on there and find a whole listing of SLPs who are pinning things, or audiologists who are pinning things. Follow that board, and you've got a whole list of people that you can then search their boards and find more information and find more people who share similar interests or have similar materials that you can see yourself using on a regular basis. And the next one I put up here was actually ASHA's. And the reason being is because, again, they're using it a completely different way. ASHA's is really focused on that professional development front. So for theirs, they've got a lot of information that came from the ASHA leader. They've got a lot of videos. They've got a lot of new research materials coming out. So it's a lot more on the professional development side. Another, again, a good resource, not necessarily therapy materials for everything, but they've just started adding like this crafty page and some of the other pages up there that are starting to have some of those therapy ideas. And they've got lists of those products up there and all those pieces that are really there just for you as a professional, not necessarily in therapy. And then the last one is I put mine up there, and the reason being is because I use it mixed. I have both personal and professional up there. My two professional boards are what's called Craftivities for Kids, which is literally every crafting activity I come across. How to make gack, how to, paint with sponges, all of those pieces. I just put into one board because I can be a little type A and too organized. So I put it all in just one place so I don't overthink it. And I also have one up there that I call speech science. So anything that I find that's explicitly a therapy technique or handout or printable, I've put up there. But then you'll see I have a ton of other ones. I'm kind of a Martha Stewart wannabe. So I have decorations and holiday decor and recipes I'll probably never ever make all pinned up there as well. So it's kind of that mix, how you can see how you can use it for that personal side of your life, but also that professional at the same time. And, my biggest thing is just go out there and click around and explore. Because I have gone down all these rabbit trails, clicking on a single pin and seeing the page it brought me to, and then finding these great blogs, these great articles, these great other websites that have become huge resources for me as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Tara. If anybody has any questions, if you want to just hold up your slips and we'll collect them, and we'll answer all the questions at the end. All right. I think you did a great job if they don't have any questions. Our second piece is going to be called Embracing Blogs, and I'd like to introduce you to Kim Lewis.
Okay, can you hear me? I have a blog that I've been doing for about 1.5 years, and I love posting to my own. I also love reading other blogs, and when I find a new blog, for me it's like discovering money in the pocket of last year's jacket, or going on my morning walk and rounding the corner and seeing a herd of deer, or even better, having a cute new kiddo with a low-key parent come into therapy. But a lot of therapists haven't started embracing the medium, and it's a shame because there's a lot to be gained from it. So what exactly is a blog? The term blog actually comes from the consolidation of weblog and is defined as an online journal. And a speech therapy blog is typically written by a certified speech-language pathologist, and it chronicles their eyes through the days of a profession. And that might play out as a record of the materials that they use or create, or reviews and opinions of the apps that they're using, or it might just be humorous anecdotes from schools or their workplace. So why should this matter to you? There's a number of areas in which blogs really shine compared to other traditional sources of information. Blogs are very specialized, niche posts typically. Unlike a print magazine, which is going to cater to a large readership, a blog can be remarkably specific. So if you work, let's say, primarily with older school-aged children who have an autism diagnosis, they might be very low or nonverbal, and your focus is specifically on technology and apps for this population, the chances of you seeing an article about that in our traditional sources over the course of the year are going to be slim, but in all likelihood, there's somebody out there blogging on that topic on a very regular basis. And if they aren't, then you should be. Blogs offer abundant information. Authors are typically posting several times in a month, which greatly surpasses traditional options like journals, texts, workbooks, or magazines. Blogs are immediate. You can search for information whenever you want it. If you need something seasonal or you want a specific therapy activity right now, you can start searching online. This is one of my favorite things about blogs. They're very, very accessible. They're a much more casual medium, and as a result, the writing tends to be very chatty, The authors are still going to use jargon from our field typically, but it's just not as heavy. They're going to make an effort not to use as many technical terms easily, which also makes it a great resource if you want to refer a parent to a blog post. They should, very often they'll be able to follow it as well. And it's nice too if you have an area that you need information on that you're less familiar with, that it'll be easier for you to understand as well. Okay, permanence. This is a tough one for people to get sometimes. A blog entry is always out there. Even if you receive a notification for it as an email, the blog post itself is out there. It stays out there. Unless the author specifically removes it, it's out there forever on the web. So you can't delete it. Now you're going to want to figure out a way to either bookmark the site if it's something that you like, or otherwise keep track of posts that you find useful, but it's not going to disappear. And interaction. As a blogger myself, we love to hear from readers. I love to hear from readers. And I respond very quickly, and most other bloggers will too. So at the end of a post, there's almost always a place where you can type in a comment. So you can type in your query or your remark, and the author will most likely get back to you with clarification. They'll elaborate, be more specific. They're a great way to stay connected to other people in the field, especially if you work someplace where you're the only SLP in sight. And to top it off, they're free. Okay, so where can I find blogs? Blogs are actually so popular that the Google sidebar specifically has a blog search. So if you type something in right there on the highlighted section, I've circled, you can just click on blogs and it'll give you blogs that are talking about that topic that you were searching for. Another option is to look at a compilation blog. PediaStaff and ASHA both have very popular compilation blogs, and what that means is they're looking at posts from across our field and ones that they find particularly pertinent or interesting. They're reposting on their site. So at the end of that post, they'll have usually a short bio and a link to that blogger's website. So if it's something that you find interesting or you like the style of writing or the topic, you could go out to their website and see other posts that they've done. The best speech language pathologist blogs from A to Z. This was a post authored by Heidi over at PediaStaff, and it appeared on ASHA this past March. And the goal was to compile a list of noteworthy blogs and brief descriptions of their offerings. And they have over 35 listed there. So that's worth taking a look at. You can get on Twitter. There's a new hashtag for SLP bloggers, and Megan's going to go into how to use Twitter. But if you were searching for hashtag SLP bloggers, this is a place where bloggers are posting their own, announcing their own new posts, and it'll give you a list of all the new posts that are coming up. There would be a link within the tweet that you could click on. And then the other option is to find blogs on Pinterest. There's a lot of therapist boards to follow. There's also the speech language therapy blog post board. This was put together by Constantly Speaking, and it's a location for bloggers to pin their own posts. So you can simply scroll through the ideas, click on the author's website, which is listed at the bottom of each pin, and you would see their entire blog. Okay, so how are you going to follow the ones that you like? You found some that you like, how are you going to keep track of them? The easiest thing to do is subscribe, and a lot of them will have this option. This is my blog. Usually it's up in the top right-hand corner of the sidebar. You just type in your email address, and then every time they have a new post, it'll come directly to your email. Another option is Blog Trotter. If the site doesn't have a specific subscribe box, you just type in the web address and your email address into Blog Trotter, and they'll send you the email updates. Google Reader will allow you to compile a list of blogs that you want to follow, and it will continually update with the newest post to that blog. Now, the SLP blogs bundle, if you're still looking for new blogs or you don't have a time to compile a list yourself for Google Reader, allows you to view updated blog posts on a large number of already bundled SLP blogs within your Google Reader account. And this was put together by Sean Sweeney, who's also known as Speech Techie. His blog bundle currently contains over 60 blogs. And you can go in there. Sean on his website does a really masterful job of simply walking you through the steps of how to subscribe to that and how to keep it updated. And once you have that list, you can also delete ones that maybe aren't appropriate to your practice. Okay, so now you've got all this reading, how are you going to manage that? One of your options is going to be bookmarking, which these apps are particularly good if you find a post that you like that you want to keep track of, but you're not sure you would follow that blog on a regular basis. Maybe it was just that one post that spoke to you. And both Evernote and Instapaper are great for this. Instapaper on the iPad works by making a copy of the post, or it's like a copy of the article for you to read later, even if you're not connected to the internet, which might be an issue for some people. It's an issue for me. Evernote's a great organizational tool that would allow you to group websites, posts, and your own personal documents if you really want to get into organizing. And then there's other apps that allow you to create a personalized magazine, and those are things such as Flipboard and Zeit, and you customize them with news and blogs that are specific to your interests. These are a little more tech savvy. You don't need to be scared off by them. Anybody over at the social media booth can walk you through how those happen. Okay, and my clinical skills are constantly honed and challenged by all the therapists out there who are willing to share their work and their passions. Blogs are just a great way to open your eyes to others in our field that have opened the door to their therapy lives. And this is from thespeechladies.com, and we have a speech lady with us. And this is your room, isn't it? So, yay! Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kim. Again, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to pass your slip towards the center aisle, and we'll collect that.
May I add one thing?
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry. I should have also mentioned that the links for all of these are in the guidebook that Heidi was talking about. That's why I didn't have them up there.
Right, yes. And I will tell you the exact link for the guidebook, and you'll be able to get that emailed to you when we get home. So our third session will be presented to you by Megan Panatier. And actually, this one was a bit of a compilation project. These two worked reasonably well together, coming up with, because Twitter can be very overwhelming, and so these two put their heads together. So Megan is going to primarily lead this piece, and Tara has been told to be free to pipe in if she has something she might like to add. So I'd like to introduce you again to Megan and to Tara.
Hi, I'm Megan Panatier. I am from Los Angeles, and it seems like a lot of people use Facebook but are turned off by Twitter for some reason. But don't be. Twitter it's not just for celebrities talking about their breakfast choices. It actually is a lot of professionals, educators, doctors, speech-language pathologists, audiologists, becoming better clinicians by sharing information. There's so much information out there, it's overwhelming, so it's nice to hone in on people that are talking about similar things. So I'm here to help you understand that Twitter is actually it's like a big coffee shop. Picture Twitter as Twitter coffee shop that's open 24 hours a day, every day of the year. And yes, there are celebrities, but most people on Twitter are just like you and me. My handle is actually and I'll explain that. is just my name. It's professionals wanting to interact with other professionals, which is different from other social media. Pinterest, you pin things like on a board, and blogs, you write things and you get comments, but Twitter is real time where you can interact with other professionals, which is why I like it so much, because I'm pretty isolated working in a school, a few schools in Los Angeles, and just with SLPs and odd peeps, you're able to talk. Does everyone here have a smartphone? Most, or internet connection at some point, that you're able to connect with people all across the globe. And these aren't just speech-language pathologists associated with ASHA in the United States. These are people in Australia, Barbados, you name it, Canada. Twitter's like a big room full of endless chairs and tables. You come and go as you please. You jump in and out of conversations, just like a coffee shop. So Twitter, it's an online social networking service and microblogging service that enables its users to send and read text-based messages of 140 characters. I know a lot of people hear the 140 characters. It's amazing how much information you can convey in short amounts of space, which I like, so people aren't too wordy. And so instead of calling it a blog post, you call it a tweet. Instead of calling it a pin, you call it a tweet. It's just social media, you're pretty much doing the same thing. You're sharing information, commenting. They're just different ways of doing it. So a lot of social media overlap. Twitter is a public space. Anything you tweet can be seen by anyone. Unless you protect your tweets, then you have to, that's a separate issue where you have to okay them for following you. So if you picture Twitter like a coffee shop and you're listening to conversations, if you really want to get started on Twitter, just join Twitter, use an email account, and you listen. So Twitter is it's like an ongoing cocktail party with all kinds of people talking, and chatting is another way of saying tweeting. Tweeting might be overwhelming, so what's tweeting? It's just chatting. It's just another way of interacting. And Twitter is a great place to join in conversations. I share news. You have NPR, you have the Los Angeles Times, New York Times, anything or person you can imagine, Oliver Sacks, anyone is on Twitter. You can interact with them personally. It's very personal. It's hard to understand unless you're on it, but just go in it and just observe. Twitter is a place where you can crowdsource ideas, which is a new term for a lot of people. Crowdsourcing, it's a distributed problem solving and production model. It's in the classic use of the term, problems are broadcast to an unknown group of solvers. So you're throwing out questions or problems to a group of people, and you're getting back input, things that they may come up with. So it's an open call for solutions. You're really using your peers. So Twitter's like your crowd. So who is using Twitter? Personal learning networks, which can include emails, journals, blogs, Pinterest, Facebook, LinkedIn, and my personal favorite, Twitter. You're all trying to do the same thing. Professional learning networks, or PLNs, as people call them, they consist of people learning and interacting and deriving knowledge in a personal learning environment, people that are interested in similar things. In a personal learning network, a person makes connection with another person with a specific interest, like speech-language pathology. It's just a way to focus. So there's a link here, how Twitter is reinventing collaboration, a great post from PBS that there's a quote from the article that says, before the advent of Twitter, most educators I know, had limited opportunities to collaborate with colleagues outside their building because you're stuck, you're by yourself. So some subscribed to listservs or participated in online forums or had blogs, but the outlets lacked critical mass. Teachers also networked at in-person conferences and training sessions, but they weren't ongoing. Like with ASHA, you talk with people, but then you're gone. With Twitter, it's like you're at ASHA all year. With SLPs, you can always interact. You meet the people you met here and keep talking with them. So,
move on to
yes.
the handle stuff.
Yes.
I think we'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'm running out of time.
Sure. So Twitter handles. Your handle is how someone finds you. It's your name. Or let's say ASHA, you find ASHA through ASHA Web. That's their handle. Or, Oliver Sacks, SLPs. PediaStaff is at PediaStaff. So that's how you find it. It's like someone's name tag. You can connect with anyone. It's all about moving our profession forward and sharing. And hashtags are the pound sign that you see. They're like the table in the coffee shop you want to join. So, I'm going to the SLPs hashtag table, and those are all those people talking about speech-language pathology related things. Or I can go to the hashtag of bacon if you want to talk to people about cooking with bacon. I'm just saying that you can go in any direction on Twitter. You can talk about neurology or dementia or dysphagia. They're all you can hone in. The hashtags is like a specific table for talking with people who are wanting to converse about that topic. Is that
Yeah. No, that's good. I'm just thinking we're running out of time.
Okay.
I wonder if we don't tell them all the specifics. I just realized we're running out of time, and maybe we don't. The next few slides are the specific people that you should follow on Twitter. And all of that is going to be in your guidebook. Oh, and I think we talked a lot about why to be on Twitter, and I think Megan has done a great job of discussing the moral support that you can have. Just being part of this. I love the coffee shop analogy that you can come and go as you please and get the support that you need.
And here's some great links that are also in the guidebook with helping you. SLP Tanya is a great speech-language pathologist in Canada who gives you all the information you need for starting a personal learning network, joining Twitter. There's a group that has come out of Twitter, the SLPs. It's an SLP chat that's almost every month with a set time where you can jump in the conversation with a selected topic.
And jumping into that conversation, there's a 2-page piece on SLP chat in the ebook. Mm-hmm. So you can learn exactly how to participate in that and how that works.
So, and personally, it's made me a better clinician. It opens you up to new ideas. And there are speech-language pathologists and audiologists all over the world, and we're all trying to do similar things. So it's nice knowing that people are doing similar things to you. Oh. And the great thing about Twitter, I've met all these fine people through Twitter. It's only the last 2-3 years I've been on Twitter, and I was in San Jose for a while. I'm currently in Los Angeles. And Tara and I, we met in a tweet up, or in IRL, in real life. I call them SLP salons, where people come just to share information, to learn about apps you're using in school, or what kind of tests you're using. Just really moral support. It brings things that are online into your living room, really. It's combined research. Apps have been written by people who have met on Twitter. I've joined in discussions with professors who will have online chats during their classes and have other SLPs chime in. I find Twitter is the best way to interact with other clinicians.
I'm just going to pipe in here. I think that 70% of what the contacts that I've made in developing the PediaStaff blog have been developed relationships that have been initiated and then fostered through Twitter.
And it's not a private club. It's open. It's very welcoming. Doesn't matter if you're straight out of school, if you've been in the profession and you're 70 years old and you think, I can't learn anything new. It's really exciting. And as long as you just learn how to do it and you just practice. And even if you sign up and just listen by reading and figure out who you enjoy listening to and jump into their conversation. So listening's a big part of Twitter. So here we go.
Yeah, so there you have it. Again, if you have any questions, there's an awful lot to learn, and it feels like it can be pretty overwhelming at times to say, oh, do I have time for all this? And what I want to emphasize, and I think all these ladies would agree with me, is that social media is what you make of it and what you put into it, but it does not have to consume you. You can really pick and choose, and I think that my professional opinion is that everyone needs to be dipping their toe into it, because at the very least exploring it, because I feel like some of the freshest, most exciting ideas right now are happening in the social media arena.
I just want to chime in. I think a lot of people think social media is going to go away. It's not. It's going to be here. So let's learn how to use it.
Okay, so the first question we have is, how do I make social media work when it seems so impersonal? Most social media takes away the turn-taking aspects of relationships. And I can see where you might feel that, and it is a little bit daunting at first, but I want to point to what Kim said, number one, about blogging and commenting, and do you want to speak to that a little bit?
To personalize.
Talking about
personalizing, with something like a magazine or a newspaper article that you're reading, you read it and you have thoughts and you might discuss it with somebody in your house over a cup of coffee, but you never get to experience the back and forth with the person who wrote it in the first place. And that's one of the things that's different about social media, especially in the area of blogs, that I might write something, you might disagree, but you have the chance right then to say, I'm doing this differently, or I'm not sure that this works for me, or how can I switch this so that it would? And I'm going to get back to you. It's not in real time the way Twitter can be, but it's certainly much more quick than let me write a letter to the editor, and maybe it'll get in, and maybe it'll be addressed, and maybe it won't. There is a lot of back and forth.
And I'd like to speak to that on Pinterest as well, because Pinterest actually gives you a commenting ability, so you can actually comment on other pins that people have pinned, and you can choose to link your other social network sites to your Pinterest. And so one of my boards that I didn't mean for it to take off or to gain a lot of followers, it just didn't happen. People would actually send me messages through it to my Facebook account saying, hi, I'm a special ed director for a school district in Illinois, and I require that all my special ed staff looks at this board and keeps up with your pins to stay on top of it for their professions of those pieces. So there is that personal aspect, but it's kind of two-sided, I think, like a relationship, in that you've got to put that comment out there, or you've got to reach out there and add into the Twitter conversation, or comment on that pin, or reach out to contact those people. And being speech therapists and audiologists, we're actually a pretty social bunch. So usually once you initiate that conversation, you can actually build some really great relationships via social media. And then we also have a question of, how do you keep your personal information private, especially on Pinterest? The nice thing about Pinterest is you get to choose what's shown. So you actually have a setting in your profiles, so you can choose if people can see your emails. You can choose actually what name you can put in there, so you don't have to put your full name in there, so the one who created it. There's also a brand new feature, thank goodness, that's private boards. So up to this point, any board you made, it was out there, which means don't make your gift guide on your Pinterest board, because your sister-in-law is going to see the whole thing and all your plans. But now they actually have private boards, so it's your own information that you can just keep private. It's just pins you want to save yourself, but you don't necessarily want to share with everybody out there. So there's a lot of privacy features. Twitter, I know we've had more difficulty. Like she said, unless you really protect your tweets, which is a whole new level, that's a really out there, open piece.
Actually, we didn't have a chance to talk about it because we were running out of time, but there's something called direct messaging. So you can actually have a one-to-one conversation through Twitter, and no one else needs to know about it. So the key to that, though, is you have to be following each other. You cannot direct message somebody who is not following you, or vice versa. So any private conversation has to be from two people that are following each other.
Well, and you also, again, with Twitter, choose what information goes out there. So like we all have handles, like mine is Speechy Keen SLP. I can choose whether people only see Speechy Keen SLP, or if they see Tara Roehl as well attached to it, as well as an email attached to it. It can be a total separate identity that you're not attaching to your person personally or even professionally at that point.
And there's the option of protected tweets on Twitter where you can't just have anyone follow you and read whatever you're writing. You have to, you see who wants to follow you and you okay if they follow you. And meaning by following you, they get to read whatever you are sharing. So there is a way to be somewhat more private. Though I feel like social media is really a public space in the overall.
Do you mind if I just add something to that? It is a public space. I think I'm very recent to a lot of social media, and I will say I had a lot of prejudices coming in. I felt like I needed a belly button ring and to be a real fan of Ashton Kutcher, and I didn't have either of those things going for me. But it doesn't have to be that way. It can be very professional. You can just use it in a professional setting. Everybody else is out there doing, speech stuff. You're not necessarily hearing the details of their personal life or what's happening on the weekend, that sort of thing.
So in closing, I'd like to say that if you'd like to learn more, number one, if you filled out the registration guide, you will get a copy of this, what we're calling Essential Social Media Tools for SLPs. It's a 26-page ebook that I've written in collaboration with these fine ladies and a few others who are not in the room. And it's a pretty nice piece that you'll be able to step by step feel very comfortable with these three mediums. We also talked briefly about Facebook, LinkedIn, and also this SLP chat, which is a really wonderful resource. Also, if you haven't stopped by booth 1823 in the career fair, we've dedicated, PediaStaff has dedicated our career fair booth this year to teaching social media, and we've invited our SLPs, who are very active members of the Twitter community, to help present and teach and help you one-on-one to help you open accounts and to give you some more custom feedback and guidance. So if you'd like to stop by, the times that I have listed there, we're really able to do pretty much any of these topics at any time. We're really not limited on any of them. So stop on by whenever you have a free chance. We're open back there for the duration of the convention whenever the exhibit hall is open. So we'd love to see you there, and if you'd like to ask more questions in a little bit more of a private setting, one-on-one, we'd be delighted to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.